Hello, good people of YouTube. Mountbatten here. And today, I am answering a question that I get asked a fair amount on stream and in the comment section, and that is, what premium ship will give me the best bang for my buck? So if you're on more of a budget and you can't afford some of the higher tier premiums, because of course, as I'm sure most of you watching know, higher tier premiums are very expensive. Tier 8 premiums, which are some of the most popular premium ships in the game, go for around 48 US dollars, which that's getting very close to the price of a AAA game. And then you have the tier 9 premiums that are over the price of a AAA game, 77 US dollars on average. So this game can and will get very pricey if you start to just buy willy-nilly. But if you're more of a budget and you're wondering what ship would give me the best bang for my buck, the answer to your question, in my opinion, is either the Arizona or the Warspite. And today we're going over the Arizona because I haven't had a standalone Arizona video I think in about a year now, and we just did a whole stream where I pretty much played the Warspite. So we're going to be talking about the Arizona today, but my answer would be the Arizona or the Warspite. Both are tier 6 premium ships. That plays a pretty big role in this, and we'll get into why there. So if you find yourself enjoying this video, guys, make sure you drop a like and leave a comment down below before you click off of this video. And also a reminder that I will be at CarrierCon aboard the Hornet, which is the weekend of March 18th. So if you want to see IRL Sealord there, go ahead and head on out to the Hornet in Alameda, California for their CarrierCon event. So into the Arizona. So there's a couple of main reasons why I picked the Arizona. Now, the biggest one is that it's tier 6, because obviously that's quite a big price drop from tier 8. You can get the Arizona in game right now for doubloons, which doubloons, those are of course the premium currency in game, and they do tend to give some out every now and then. And since the Arizona is an older ship, she's only 6,900 doubloons, which is quite affordable in terms of dollar amount, at least for the US dollar. That's a little bit around $30-ish, a little under $30. So again, it's how the company makes their money. It's a free-to-play game, so that's why it's, even though it's a tier 6 premium, it's still quite pricey there. Now, what I said about them giving out doubloons will help you bring the price of this ship down. Given that, again, all you have to come up with is 6,900 doubloons for the Arizona. They give around, a couple hundred doubloons here and there just for logging in. You can get them in sometimes in the dockyard missions for events and such too. So it's not entirely unbelievable that you can potentially slash this down to $15 after playing for a couple of months completely for free, to where essentially you're getting a tier 6 premium for $15. Or if you're very patient, you could potentially get it completely for free just with the doubloons that they give out from time to time. Same, of course, goes for the Warspite as well, with the saving up the free doubloons that they do give you in game. The other part about it being tier 6 is that it gets tier 6 matchmaking. Tier 6 matchmaking is very comfortable at the moment. It is a much softer up tier, in my opinion, from a tier 6 game to a tier 8 game, then from a tier 8 game to a tier 10 game. The power jump from tier 8 to tier 10 is quite stark, and with some of the higher tier ships that are being released to tier 9 and tier 10 ships that are being released today, it's getting even more of a shock, getting double up tiered like that in a tier 8 ship. So you get decent matchmaking. Tier 6 to tier 8 isn't entirely terrible, especially with the Arizona or the Warspite. So the ship itself, the Arizona. The Arizona is essentially a California that is so much better than the California. So the California, for those of you that aren't familiar with the ship, it's literally what you see here in the Arizona up tier to tier 7 for 0.1 better Sigma and a slightly faster reload time. And both of those ships, the California and the Arizona, are equipped with 12 14-inch guns. Now, the Arizona, being that it's a tier 6 ship, 14-inch guns are much more potent dealing with tier 6, 7, and 8 ships than they are dealing with tier 7, 8, and 10 ships. I'm sorry, and 9 ships like the California can. because she's a tier 7. And the power gap between tier 7 and tier 9 is a rough one when you're getting double up tiered in the California. Now the Arizona only has to deal with up to tier 8 ships, which, again, 12-14 inch guns against tier 8 ships is still quite potent. You've got quite the heavy hammer there with the Arizona. So when you are top tier in the Arizona, which does happen still a fair amount with tier 6 ships today, in the 3 or 4 games that I played in order to get a decent background game for you guys, 3 of the games were, well, 2 were full-on tier 6, 1 was tier 7, tier 6, and then this one was straight up tier 8. So that's a pretty good success ratio in my mind, playing on the evening of a Tuesday on the North America server. But even if you do get double up to tier 8, the Arizona is very well equipped to deal with that. Besides just the guns too. Now, keep in mind, these guns with the special American Plotting Room Mod 1 modification can get out to 18.5 kilometers, which is really friggin' far for tier 6 standards. And keep in mind too, you still have a catapult plane with the Arizona that will take that range and increase it by another 20%. Now, it is an American battleship, so it does have some terrible air drag, but the Arizona shells do start off a little bit hotter than the other American battleships, because she doesn't have the Mark 8 super heavy AP shell. She uses the Mark 16. So she fires these shells out of her tubes at 792 meters a second. So not quite as slow as, the Iowa, North Carolina, and the Montana shells, but again, it's not the super heavy AP, so you don't get that extra oomph. But again, with 12 guns at tier 6, it's pretty oomphy enough from my experience. So they're a lot more comfortable to use at range. And keep in mind too, with that 18.5 kilometer range with the spotting plane, you are fully within the completely viable range of tier 8 games quite easily. Now, with her guns, you also have a terribly slow turret traverse. It's turning the ships faster. Turning the ship is faster than turning the guns. And that's saying a lot too, because the ship is also quite slow. The Arizona is from the time when the American naval engineers said, you know what, 20 knots is fine. We don't need to worry about anything. She's slow. She is very slow. Speed flag, you get up to 22. I'm not going to try and sugarcoat that she's a turtle. But at tier 6, you're not alone there. There's plenty of other slow battleships at tier 6. And again, with the very, very long range that the ship has for a tier 6 ship, you can comfortably keep within range while not having to rush into the fight. You should really be a little more aware of the map, see how both flanks are going. If it looks like your flank's going to fall, you need to get out of there a little bit before you normally would in, let's say, a faster battleship. Now, the ship is also quite tough. She has a very nice heel. Her heel with the flag on it will regen 343 HP per second for 30.8 seconds, and it reloads in 76 seconds. It's a very nice heel to have on a tier 6 battleship. And she still has the American damage con, which runs for 22 seconds. That's on top of this, of course, being a dreadnought battleship. So her armor is quite good. In terms of trying to citadel this thing, I honestly don't think I've ever citadeled in Arizona, at least not in recent memory, because the citadel is just buried beneath a turtleback armor, beneath the torpedo bulges. It's very difficult to get to. Maybe if you get double up tier to a tier 8 game, and some, maybe like a Vladivostok catches your broadside from just the right angle, sure. But in terms of tier 8 ships, they're not getting to your citadel. And most tier 8 ships and most tier 7 ships, and definitely, I'm pretty sure most tier 6 ships, they'll have a rough time getting to your citadel. Again, unless some weird geometry thing happens. Now, that's not saying the ship is invincible. Of course, it's a big target, it's a slow target. There's plenty of HE and SAP spam now at tier 6 that you can see that does ruin your day. And back in the day when the ship first came out, this ship was like a Doom Turtle. It just took so much to kill because it was that tough with the heal and the damage con. But of course, like I said, SAP's more of a thing. We have more HE spammy ships. Submarines are a thing at tier 6 now. And of course, tier 6 sees a lot of double CV and submarine games. And of course, the Arizona doesn't have the best AA either. However, her guns are comfy enough. The horizontal dispersion is very nice, as you can see in the background footage. The horizontal dispersion is, sorry, not the horizontal dispersion, the vertical dispersion is very nice. The horizontal dispersion is a little all over the place, but with 12 guns, I mean, a good amount of them are going to hit the target if your aim is decent, or better than mine. And you're still going to be getting pretty good, pretty consistent damage. It is a little frustrating when ships are more angled in or bow into, because again your horizontal dispersion isn't that great, but when ships do go broadside to you, the horizontal dispersion, I mean, hey, most times it's about the same length as their ship, so you wind up shoving most of your 12 shells into their broadside and simply ruining their day. And the match you're watching in the background's kind of a worst case scenario. I mean, I'm double up tiered. I believe there's submarines in this game as well. I don't think there's any CVs, thank God. But, I mean, I had a match that was double up-tiered, CVs, and double submarines, and I still had a 100,000 damage game. I think it was actually like 99,000 and change, but I had one more salvo out that was almost there in a Tier 8 game, and I still did fine, especially in terms of producing credits. Now, keep in mind, too, since this is a Tier 6 ship, the credit cost, the repair cost, isn't that bad. You're still in the tiers in Tier 6 where you're pretty much making credits just about every game, unless you just blow up in the first 2 minutes of the match, even in this economy. So this is still the point at which you're just raking in the credits. And when you throw a premium ship on there with just green boosters and a premium account, you're absolutely raking in the credits. You're keeping most of the credits you make in this thing, and it's great. Making easily 500,000 credits every game with just a decent game in the Arizona. And you can imagine when you have like some blue boosters and you have one hell of a match, it's going to make the credits for you. And again, with the repair cost of Tier 6 ships, you're going to get to keep most of those credits. So she does what a premium ship does right there, print credits quite well. And again, with the range and the comfortable guns, she can do it at Tier 6, Tier 7, and Tier 8. Let alone, too, that this is a pretty good American battleship commander trainer, especially for the American battleship line, because this is what they play like, except this one is in a much more place tier-wise, in my opinion. Of course, too, you know, with the commander rework, you don't really have to have a specific ship around to grind out a commander for a certain class anymore, but this would be a good commander trainer for the American battleships in my mind. So what you have here is a ship that is fairly cheap in comparison to other premiums in this game, that does what it does very well, has stood the test of time pretty damn decently in my opinion, and is just a very nice, enjoyable ship to play, in my opinion. Now, of course, some of you are probably saying, well, Sealer, why don't I just get a coal ship? Well, true, you know, coal ships are free, and I would highly recommend getting a coal ship, but most of those are higher tier. You do have a couple of mid-tier ones in there as well that are pretty decent, but in terms of, you know, wanting to spend money on the game, if you want to buy something, but maybe you don't have the time to save up the coal, you don't play enough to save up the coal, this would be the next best option into getting, you know, maybe something like a Duke of York, or one of those mid-higher-ish tier coal ships, in my opinion. So guys, that's the answer to that question. Again, this one, or the Warspite. If you want to see how the Warspite plays, you can check out the stream from the previous Friday. We played it most of the time in ranked, and I talk about its benefits and its downsides in there quite extensively as we go through it. Or you can check out my Warspite video, which I believe I put one of those out about 5 months ago. So, or I'll link it in the description or the comments. That would probably be the correct thing to do. But anyway, guys, that's my 2 cents on the Arizona, my 2 cents on that question. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure to drop a like, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel. And I hope you have a wonderful Wednesday, wonderful rest of your week. Hope to catch you guys in the next one.